When your cat ignores you suddenly, do you actually know what that means? At first, it just feels confusing, maybe even a little hurtful, like they're just being distant or moody for no reason. But behind that silence, there's something deeper that most people miss. It's one of the most emotionally loaded signals your cat can give you, and if you ignore it or respond the wrong way, which most owners do, you might slowly push them further away without even realizing it. Let's start with what that behavior really means. Have you ever called your cat and they just didn't respond? No eye contact, no movement, nothing. Most people think, my cat is just ignoring me. They're independent, they don't care. But here's what's actually happening. Your cat isn't being rude, they're withdrawing. Cats don't express stress the way humans do. They don't complain, they don't explain. Instead, they go quiet. They reduce interaction. They avoid engagement. Think about that for a second. Silence for your cat is communication. It's not that they don't see you, it's that they don't feel safe enough to respond. And by the way, if your cat used to be affectionate and suddenly becomes distant like this, don't brush it off. We'll get to what that really means later, and it's something most owners wish they understood sooner. Because this is where most people get it wrong. They think nothing is happening, but something is, and it matters. Have you ever noticed your cat acting normal one day and distant the next? Maybe yesterday they were following you everywhere, sitting near you, watching you, responding to your voice, and today, nothing. Most people assume it's random, but here's what's actually happening. A 2018 behavioral study on domestic cats found that stress directly changes how cats interact with their environment, including their owners. When a cat feels stressed, their brain shifts into survival mode. They become more alert, more cautious, more withdrawn. Animal cognition research shows that in this state, social behavior is not a priority. Safety is. Think about that. Your cat isn't choosing to ignore you. Their brain is telling them to step back. Emotionally, that means your cat is overwhelmed, and your presence, something that normally feels safe, temporarily becomes something they don't have the energy to respond to. And here's where it gets even more powerful. This doesn't mean they love you less. It means they're struggling internally, and they don't know how to show it any other way. Have you ever noticed that when your cat feels comfortable, they rub against you? Your legs, your hands, even your face? Most people see it as affection, but here's what's actually happening. Cats have scent glands around their cheeks, their head, and even along their body. When they rub against you, they're leaving behind invisible scent markers. Researchers call this scent bonding. It's how cats create a shared safe space. It's how they say, you belong here with me. But here's what most people don't realize. When your cat starts ignoring you, they often stop doing this too. No rubbing, no marking. And that's not random. Think about that for a second. Your cat is no longer reinforcing that connection, not because they don't care, but because something is disrupting their sense of safety. Their world feels off. And when that happens, bonding behaviors pause, which means you're not just being ignored, you're being removed from their emotional comfort zone, temporarily. And hey, if this makes sense to you, hit like and subscribe. It helps us reach more cat lovers who actually want to understand what their cat is really saying. Have you ever thought about where this behavior comes from? Why cats choose distance instead of comfort when something feels wrong? Most people don't think about it, but here's what's actually happening. In the wild, showing weakness is dangerous. A distracted or stressed animal becomes an easy target. So cats evolved to hide discomfort. Behavioral scientists have observed that cats, when they feel unsafe, they reduce visibility and interaction. They become quieter, less noticeable. Think about that. Your cat ignoring you isn't rejection, it's protection. They're trying to stabilize themselves by becoming smaller, quieter, less exposed. And here's where it gets even more meaningful. Even though your home is safe, their instincts haven't changed. So when something feels off, a new smell, a loud noise, a change in routine, they go back to that ancient survival response. And that response looks like distance. Have you ever noticed your cat doesn't ignore everyone the same way? Maybe they still watch the room, still react to sounds, but with you, they feel distant. Most people assume cats are just unpredictable. But here's what's actually happening. Studies on domestic cats reveal that behavioral changes are often tied to their strongest bonds. Cats don't treat everyone equally. They form selective emotional connections. Think about that for a second. You are not just another human to your cat. You are their reference point, their emotional anchor. So when something changes inside them, your presence becomes part of that emotional equation. Sometimes they pull away not because of you, but because you matter the most. And that closeness becomes overwhelming when they feel unstable. And that says something powerful. It means your bond is real. Here's what most owners never realize. Ignoring you is not the absence of connection. It's a sign of internal conflict. Have you ever seen your cat sitting nearby, not interacting but not leaving either? That quiet distance? That's where everything is happening. They're still aware of you, still connected, but they're holding back. Animal behavioral studies show that withdrawal is one of the earliest signs of stress in cats. Before aggression, before obvious illness, silence comes first. Think about that. Your cat isn't pushing you away completely. They're pausing their relationship, trying to process something they don't understand. And in that moment, they need safety more than interaction. And this is where most owners get it wrong. They try to fix it immediately, call their name more,
Pick them up. Try to force closeness. But to your cat, that feels like pressure, not comfort. Now here's something even deeper. Have you ever noticed your cat watching you, even when they're ignoring you? That quiet observation, that stillness, that's not disconnection, that's hesitation. Your cat is trying to decide if it's safe to re-engage. Behavioral scientists describe this as a threshold state, a moment where the animal is not fully relaxed, but not fully withdrawn either. Think about that for a second. Your cat is right on the edge. They haven't left you, they haven't rejected you. They're waiting, watching, trying to feel safe again. And your response in that moment matters more than anything. Because if you respect that space, if you stay calm, if you let them come to you, that's when trust rebuilds, quietly, naturally, without force. Now here's something even more important. What should you do when your cat starts ignoring you? First, don't take it personally. Second, don't force interaction. But here's what's actually happening. Veterinary behavioral studies show that giving cats space during stress helps them recover faster because it gives them control, and control is what creates safety. Think about that. Your cat doesn't need more attention, they need more control over their environment. So instead of reaching out more, you soften your presence. Sit nearby, move gently, avoid sudden actions, let them observe you without pressure. And when they come back to you, even in a small way, that moment becomes powerful because now it's their choice, and choice is what restores trust. And remember earlier when I said if your cat suddenly stops interacting, you shouldn't ignore it? This is what I was talking about, because sometimes this behavior is temporary, a reaction to stress, a moment of overwhelm. But other times, it's a signal, a deeper message. Veterinary research shows that sudden behavioral withdrawal can also indicate discomfort, illness, or emotional distress, and that's something you should never overlook. Think about that. The silence you're seeing might be the only way your cat knows how to say something isn't right. And if you ignore that, you miss the message completely. So when your cat ignores you suddenly, do you actually know what that means? It's not attitude, it's not moodiness, it's not that they stopped caring. It's stress, it's confusion. It's your cat trying to protect themselves in the only way they know how. That's not rejection, that's vulnerability. That's your cat quietly saying, I don't feel safe right now. And that silence, it was never empty. It was communication, and it shouldn't be ignored.